Yo, what's good? What's good? NBA YouTube, NBA YouTube. What's good? It's your man Ross coming to you with another episode of The Rock Never Stops. Today's episode is actually brought to you by one of my subscribers. Let me get his name down. iJammy from the 905, who's also from the Bay apparently too. We was talking back and forth. Um, he asked me to do a little bit more of a dive into understanding the politics around the NBA. That's something I'm kind of passionate about because in my undergrad, I had an opportunity to study the sociological impact and politics of professional sports. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If you want to just enjoy the game, don't watch this. Like for real, like if you want to just enjoy your sport, especially like the NFL, you don't even want to think about nothing, you just want to dive in. This may not be the era of society to live in, but um yeah, once you know what goes on behind the scenes, it really kind of is very revealing. Very revealing. So today we're going to dive in. We're going to talk about NBA owners and the financial impact of professional sports, um, and media complicity. Now, that has to be referenced because media plays a huge part in what it normalizes to the viewer. Um, and it allows owners to be able to sway opinions and things like that. And so we're going to dive in. The first thing to keep in mind, always when you think about your owners, contracts they're paying out, all these different things, always remember owners pay out 50%, sometimes a little bit less than 50% of the sports related income. We're talking about the NBA right now. So 50% of the NBA related income goes to the players. 50%. 50. What is the cap at around, what is it? 100 and something million? Something like that? 100 million? 100 something million? That means that the owner is making 200 and something million. So before we start crying tears about owners overpaying, paying too much, remember they're making anywhere between 4 to 5 times what your max salary player is making. Keep that in mind. You ain't hurting them. When they talk about going over the luxury tax, and I'm going to get to that later, but what you're actually looking at is somebody eating into their 50 to now 51%. Like they still making 250 something million dollars. Think about that. Let it sit in a little bit, right? The basketball related income. Now, I want to preface this by understanding that you don't only make income from the NBA from basketball related income. You make money from the basketball related income. That means ticket sales, concessions, season ticket holders, um, advertisement inside of the stadium, right? Television contracts. You also make money based upon the exposure for your company. Most of these owners have companies that they made all their money off of. They didn't make their money off of the NBA franchise. That's not what they depend upon for continuing to make money. They have their own businesses. But having an NBA franchise allows owners to have nonstop publicity and almost like commercials advertising them as a businessman and whatever company that they own, right? So, what people would pay, advertisers would pay tens of millions of dollars for the advertisement, right? All year long. They get for free just by being an owner. They said when LeBron James left Cleveland the first time, that franchise's value dropped. It was either 200 or 400 million dollars in value. Y'all wonder why that owner was so upset? It wasn't because he wanted to win a championship. It was because that's how much money he was losing, not from just basketball related income, but from people watching the television to see his team, to see his face, to see his brand, and everything that came with that. So they only pay out 50%, if not less. And some of these owners is cheap, so they don't even want to pay that. The next thing, what they ah oh this is the trick. This is the trick. I'm actually going down a little list here because I wanted to make sure that I was specific. What they pay does not factor into their business outside. I think I referenced this a moment ago, that it doesn't factor into their business that's outside. So in other words, like you see like Smoothie King Arena, right? Basketball related income is specifically what happens inside the arena and during the game. Smoothie King is also a franchise that the owners own for the New Orleans Pelicans, right? That advertisement, to have it on the brand of a stadium that tens of thousands of people walk into each game and see when they drive by, has a quantifiable value. I would probably say close to $100 million, right? Value that they can leverage, that you can actually take out loans against, that you can actually invest against, right? People don't always think about, and this is for people who are more business savvy, investments and loans and banks and markets and stocks and things of that nature, right? When you understand the layers to how these owners make money off of merely being an owner, you understand that what players are getting, if you probably add it all up, players are probably getting 25% of what these owners are making. 25%. Keep in mind, remember when the Milwaukee Bucks were for sale and they sold for, what was it, over $1 billion? That was one of the franchises back in the day before Michelle Roberts got there that they were saying was losing so much money. Remember? They were like, "Oh, we're losing all this money." Oh, then all of a sudden, Michelle Roberts became the Players Association president, well, not the president, but the representative. And as a lawyer, she knew to look at the books. And when she looked at the books, she was like, "Oh, y'all making way more money than what you're telling us." And then all of a sudden, other owners came in and it was like, "You know what? Bet we can leverage this even more. We'll give you $1 billion for it." Why? Because it's an investment. It's not for fun. Steve Ballmer didn't pay $2 billion for the Clippers for fun because it's exciting. It was a business deal. The investment far superseded 2 billion. You got to really understand this is not about for fun and for play, not for owners, not for owners. So when you think about the moves your team is making, understand that the moves being made are about their bottom line profit. This is the impact that capitalism has on sports, which is why you have to be careful getting all invested into like a full team and being like, "Oh, this is my team." The owner ain't looking at it like that. Owner's like, "This is my team. And what I'm gonna do with this piece of investment is what I want." And it may not be what you want. Keep that in mind, Minnesota Timberwolves fans. So here's another thing. Did y'all know that in taxes, they can write off losses based upon losing seasons? I'll say that again. Owners can write off as losses when doing taxes for having a losing season and can write off what they're paying in salaries, the costs. Yeah, I was shocked too. Like, how do you lose and get it as a tax write off? Because you're paying money and the investment didn't go well, so you didn't win, so therefore you didn't make it up by going to the playoffs, ticket sales, and all those different things. So now you get to write it off as a loss. Remember, Donald Sterling was losing on purpose for almost his entire tenure as a franchise owner. He didn't care. Why? Because his other businesses benefited from it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Cause y'all think I'm playing here. It's real out here. It's real. Ah, media plays into the notion that we as a public should compare our work value to these athletes. And that plays into the power dynamics of athletes to be able to undermine the value of those players. I'll repeat, media reinforces this narrative for us as fans to compare our value that we work at our job and compare it to these NBA players so that they can continue to minimize how valuable they are to their franchise. Remember, when LeBron left Cleveland the first time, its value as a franchise dropped by almost $400 million. Think about that. He's getting paid at the time, I think, I want to say maybe 20 something million a year. Think about that difference. Think about that difference, right? So you wonder why some owners play with their teams, don't really care, because you know what? You can write it off at the end of the day. Your owner's objective may not be yours, may not be yours, right? And the media plays a huge part in this because let a Stephen A. Smith start saying how somebody's overpaid, overpaid. Your franchise player is making maybe 10%, 15% of what your owner, of what that team's owner is probably making. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Next time you start hearing them talking about overpaid, remember what's really going on. Now, there's so many different manipulative systems put in place in professional sports and the NBA that allows owners to exploit these players. It's ridiculous. I'm going to go over a few of them just so you can kind of get what's taking place here. One of the first things, one of the first things is the salary cap. The salary cap. Putting a cap on what you can pay players allows them to say, no matter what, I'm going to get to exploit you. No matter what. No matter what. Hey, sorry, LeBron, I can only pay you 35 million a year. That's the maximum what I can give you. I'm making 350, but uh, it's all I can do. My hands are tied. The cap, right? Right? You got to start thinking about this. You got to start thinking about this. The draft, the NBA draft. How many players get drafted? Even if they're the number one draft pick, their value. Zion Williamson got drafted by the New Orleans Pelicans as a number one pick. I think he was making around like 10 million. You can check numbers for me. It's all good. You can make he's making 10 million a year. He came with over 3 million social media followers. Followers. Over 3 million viewers all of a sudden started watching the New Orleans Pelicans. What do you think that did to their television deals? To the advertisement inside of that arena? Ticket sales, season ticket holders, parking lot, concessions, right? All the ways they make money. What do you think that happened for them? And he's making 10, 10, 10. Oh, sorry, it's all I can do. You were drafted. It's all I could pay you is 10. Oh, and they making 280 million, 350 million, $150 million increase because Zion is there. Because he's just there. He's just there. Imagine if Zion Williamson was in New York. What do you think LeBron did going to the Lakers? You wonder why LeBron does those one-and-one deals for all those years? Oh, you're gonna pay me every last cent because I know your books. He's smart. His whole crew. Why do you think they hate against Rich Paul and Clutch Sports? Because they play the game, they know the game, but there's a little something added to it. This. They not used to this playing the game. They not. It's another media spin. It's how they villainize those who ain't in the good old boys club playing the game to maximize their value and their worth. There's a reason why they hate on Rich Paul. They don't talk about everybody else. All these other agents who are doing the same exact thing for their clients, having their clients' best interest in mind every single time. You want to get out of there? I'm gonna get you out of there. I'm gonna get you someplace you can win a championship, Anthony Davis. Oh, Rich Paul. Everybody's mad at him. Yo, he got him out of New Orleans where they couldn't get out the first round. Where they couldn't put a team around him. He goes to the Lakers. He wins a championship in LA. And Rich Paul is a villain? He sound like a hero to me. Sound like a hero to me. Shoot, if Bradley Beal had Rich Paul, he'd probably be with the Knicks right now. Anyways, or with the Lakers, because Knicks are with another kind of agency. That's another thing. They kind of pair up with these teams. But anyways, I'm gonna go into that later. Another thing, trading players without consent. Imagine if you're at work. Let's say you're a teacher, and you get traded to a school in Minnesota, and you live in Texas. How would you feel? How would you feel? Let's say you're an engineer in California, and you get traded to a tech company in Nebraska. Not hating on Nebraska, saying it's a big shift, big change for you and your family. Now you wonder why players want no trade clauses. I may not want to uproot my family as soon as you feel like trading my contract. Really? You're making 70% more as an owner than what you're paying out all the players, let alone just me. And you want to trade me across the country on a whim? And I just got to uproot and move? Now y'all wonder why some of these players are stressed at times. Now y'all wonder why some of these players don't like the media who's always telling them, hey, you know what? You're going to have to go. You got to be a professional. You got to just do what you have to do. Man, forget doing what you got to do. I'll be mad. I'll be mad. You sent me where? You sent me where? I was in Brooklyn, New York, and I'm in Minnesota. I know it sounds like I'm hating on Minnesota. I'm just saying Minnesota ain't really put together a place where players want to be. Just saying. Then there's age requirement, right? Age requirement. How old do you got to be in order to play in the NBA? You got to be 1 year removed from high school, over the age of 18. What profession in the world do you have those requirements? Imagine you're an amazing piano player, amazing. And they say, wait, you can't perform in this arena, in this orchestra, and get paid for it until you're a year removed from high school. Yeah, right. You're playing at 16. You're playing at 12. It'll be a bigger crowd draw, right? But in the NBA, mm-mm, not yet. Mm-mm. You got to go to the NCAA, make them some money, make them a whole lot of money. Remember, 3 million. That's how many followers Zion Williamson had when he went to Duke. They said that Duke North Carolina game, the cheapest tickets was like what they say, like $1,000, someone like that. It's crazy. Check the numbers. Go and just look it up. Look it up. I don't feel like it. You got it. Go ahead. Google it. Google it. Right. Then the last aspect of it is the myth of loyalty. Loyalty. Be loyal. How you gonna be loyal to a team that drafted you that you ain't never had an option to choose to go to? How you supposed to be loyal to them? Because they drafted you? They drafted. They took you. They took you. And you're supposed to be grateful? You talented as hell. Understand your worth. Most players, some players do. They know how much they're worth. Why do you think Shaq wanted to leave Orlando? If you read about it, he wanted a contract that they didn't want to give him. They said, "You ain't worth that. Ain't no player worth that." Turned and looked at the Los Angeles Lakers. They was like, "You're worth that. Come on." What'd they do? Win 3 rings with Shaq. Keep that in mind. Think about it. Think about it. How much was he making them winning championships back to back to back? He took them to the NBA Finals. NBA Finals in his early career. He was about to have a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type legacy in Orlando, Lou Alcindor type legacy in Orlando if they paid him. He would have took him back to I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I guarantee they didn't want to pay him. Know your worth. And the last thing. And if you don't like this take, you ain't gotta like me. But it ain't a shock that the two sports with the most Black athletes, African American athletes, has salary caps. You don't have it in baseball. You ain't got it in baseball. Baseball don't even make more money than the NFL or the NBA. Matter of fact, NFL makes more money than the NBA and Major League Baseball. And they got the hardest cap, 97% black athletes. NBA, 97% black athletes. We got a cap for you. We got a draft for you. You can only make so much. Don't want you making too much. You're going to get overpaid. I don't know if you're ready. Who gets to dictate that? You, the owner. So when you really watch these owners move and shake, right now you got DeAndre Ayton. He's up for uh, a max contract. He wants all the money. He wants it all. Robert Sarver, the Suns owner, just went to the NBA Finals. DeAndre Ayton held down that defense, got them to Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Had the game-winning dunk against the Clippers in the playoffs. He sacrificed. People don't realize DeAndre Ayton was an offensive monster when he was in Arizona, University of Arizona. And when he got to Phoenix, that was when he started focusing on defense more. It was like, look, I'm gonna take a step back and focus on this for the sake of winning. They finally bring in some veterans. CP arrives, NBA Finals. Is it a coincidence DeAndre Ayton held down that defense? No, no. And now they're like, I don't know if we want to pay you. You making how much? And you want to cheapskate me? It's not the only owner who does that. A lot of y'all's owners do that. A lot of y'all. So next time you're watching your team, take a look at your owners too. Look at their track record. It'll probably reveal what they're going to do in the future. Probably will. With that, that's the end of this video. I hope you liked. If you did, subscribe, hit that like button, smash that like button for your boy, please. Um, and then comment more than anything else. I love the conversation, discourse back and forth. Let me know what you think. Let me know if your owner might be one of them suspect owners, or you feel like you got a great owner. Let me know. Let me know. Um, and we can go from there. Also, leave some video recommendations. Like I said, this video was something that one of my subscribers asked about. I threw it up there for him. I got you. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace.